board's back from the executive session. Thanks for joining us this evening. May I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Dufault? Here. Mr. Walrod? Here. Mr. Wells?
Here.
Mr. Wood?
Here. All right. Item 3, additions, corrections, or deletions for the agenda tonight.
If we could move committee reports, which is item number 5, to follow the treasurer's report, I think the conversation would have a more pertinent feel to it.
Okay. Item 5, committee reports, down below treasury report, so that will become a new 12. Okay. Any others? Okay, let's recommend the Board of Education approve the agenda as presented. Need a motion, please.
I'll second.
All right, Kevin. Second, please. Kristen, thank you. Any discussion? No discussion? All right, roll call, please.
All right, Mr. Dufault? Yes. Mr. Walrod? Yes. Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
All right, motion carried. Thank you. Item 4, Ms. Ridley, you want to say anything about public participation, or we want to move on to item 5?
It really is unfortunate. We did plan on having public participation. We'd invited a member of the Claremont County Board of Health also to come and address the board and answer questions. We were reminded we are still under the 10-person restriction limit, as also has come through the Attorney General's office, David Yost. We're going to plan again in August, like we're open back up again, but until then, actually, we see that more people watch us on Facebook Live than actually attend the meeting, so that's a positive thing to come out of this. But we certainly even without the public participation here, we gather feedback, we gather emails, we've done the surveys, and we want our feedback from our staff and also from our community. That's what makes the school system so great.
Thanks for that. All right. Item number 5, which will now be the superintendent's report.
So when we met a month ago, so much has happened. We had talked about House Bill 164 possibly being signed by Governor DeWine, and why I'm bringing it up this evening. Many months ago, before COVID even began, John Fry, works here as Central Office Assistant, found out a school system in Ohio, Benton, Carroll, Salem, was in a similar situation of losing a lot of power plant money, and the state legislature did some bridge funding for them, which added some coffers to this district. And John said to me at that time, our treasurer, Julia Toth, we kind of fit that model that we should get in line for this as well, not get in line, but ask for this as well. So we very quickly, we arranged meetings with Senator Green's office, or Representative Johnson's office, gave testimony in Columbus, and it came to fruition. It is wonderful, wonderful news that we, the district, will pick up an extra $388,000 from the state legislature for the incredible loss of revenue we've received from our power plants. We are hopeful that this will be a repeat payment. At this time, they're not sure if it's in the budget, but that's wonderful, wonderful news. When Governor DeWine, now said this month, signed House Bill 164, that means an extra $388,000 for the new Richmond schools. So I just wanted to bring that up for the board and for the community to be aware of. Very, very, very good news.
That's a good job.
The next thing I wish I wasn't doing is we're going to say goodbye to one of the stalwarts here in our school system. And Mr. Bailey, our high school principal, has decided to put him for retirement and go on to the next chapter of his life. I wish we could have worked together longer. I've told him many times throughout the course of the year, Mark, I think you do a fantastic job. The high school principalship is a challenging position, and the spotlight burns bright. And I'm really sad that Mark decided to leave us, but I'm happy for him at the same time. Mark's been here a long time. I've had the pleasure of knowing him for 1 year. He was hired here in 1988. Was our band director, and from what I see, led our band to lots of superior ratings and competitions, and built a wonderful legacy here with our band program, which I know they still talk about. In the year 2000, he was then promoted to Monroe principal, stayed there until 2012, where he became the New Richmond High School principal. And Mark, I would just say we've only known each other for a year, but I have a really good feel for the man that you are, the person that you are. When people go to the next stage of their life, whether it be a new job, a retirement, or something else, what they need to know is that they made a difference. Mark, you've made a difference. You've been here for decades, have touched countless untold lives, have been just a rock here in the Richmond City Schools or Exempted Village Schools, and just so you know, you did make a difference. You are going to be missed, my friend. You have some very big shoes to fill. You set the bar high, and I hope this isn't the last time that we see you, that our paths do cross again. Now, I want you to come out tonight to be recognized, to understand my sentiments. I don't know if the board would want to say anything as well.
Mark, I'll just say it's been a pleasure to talk to you one-off sometimes at games, and I think when I think of you, and I think what other people think about you, is consistency. You're a man of your word. You're a man of integrity, high standards, and I think you give off that persona. You give that off. That's who you are, and I think that's really what resembles Mark Bailey to me, is that you're a man of high integrity, high standards, and you demand high standards, and I think that's honorable. It really is, and so.
Thank you.
Big shoes to fill coming in from Mr. Burnside, but assuming he gets approved tonight. But yeah, I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss seeing you around here. But I'm sure I'll still see you driving down the road near my house with your dog in the front seat with you. And but again, appreciate all your work here in the community. You certainly have made a difference.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I applaud you for taking care of your mother. It's really cool. Really cool.
And I can say from having been on the board when Mark was given all these different jobs, that from the principalship to Monroe to the principalship at the high school, your name was one of the top names for all those jobs every time something would come up. So not only did you have support from your administrators and your peers and and the boards at that time, your name was the one that always seemed to rise to the top. So that just shows you how high regarded you were, because like I said, that dynamic changes all the time. You've seen it. But through all that, you always managed to hold your place and be the kind of guy that everybody thought, hey, Mark Bailey can do that, Mark Bailey can do that. Because I know I've had several one-on-one conversations with you over the years myself, saying, I think Mark was thinking, I think this is something you can really do. And you never let me down. You've done everything that I've asked of you as a board member for a lot of years. You've done a lot for this district, and when you leave here, you can say you did everything you could possibly do.
I was hoping to get at least 2 more years from you, Mark. When you first came in, it was my junior year of high school, and this coming school year will be my daughter's junior year. So would love to see you finish those 2 years out. But I'm just being selfish. But truly, Mark Bailey to me is he's a role model. He sets that standard, as you shared, Rob. But very firm, but very fair. Very firm, but very fair. And I appreciate all the hard work that you've put into the high school over the years and the district, and you will be missed. I'll miss those conversations when we get to bounce ideas off of one another, but I'll maybe get a retired perspective now on what I should do or maybe not do. So, but thank you for your time here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mark, for your years of service to this district. I've known you for a long time also. I know my boys went through and touched their lives, and like Mr. Miller and everyone else said, you touched many people's lives throughout your career. It'll be missed. So good luck in your new career.
Thank you.
Even though I'm sitting in this chair right now, the role that you've impacted me the most as a parent. You had both my children in elementary and now in high school. And that's a big jump from elementary to high school, and they still saw the same leader that they had then. But as a parent, you may not remember this, but you got us through some of those difficult times we had in our life when our youngest was diagnosed. So you made sure my oldest was taken care of, and then when my youngest made it to school, you were one of the front runners with her 504 and everything else. And so to say that you take care of students, yes, you did amazing, but you also helped take care of parents. So thank you.
Thank you.
It's one of those things. I look at the board. I believe I've either taught, you
your child, or was a principal for everyone's child that sits on the board. And that's one of the things that makes New Richmond so wonderful. It's a very special town, and it was indeed an honor to spend my career here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brady. Thank you for coming out this evening.
Thank you.
So the last item under the superintendent's report. Anything else there to report there?
No, sir.
Okay. We'll move on to item number 6, reopening plan for school year 2021, which I'm sure our community is anxious to hear from you about.
Yes, sir. And we are frozen right now, and I'm trying to, it won't move, so refresh. Bear with me.
Got a little technology.
And site can be reached.
Email the help desk, see if Ben responds.
Good. I think if it doesn't work, there. Responsible restart. Thank you so much. This will take some minutes to go through this. We'll make sure that the board is comfortable with the information that's being proposed here, and also our community is watching. Everyone is frustrated. Every aspect of our life has been upended. I understand that. Mine has been as well. Things are not going to return to normal probably anytime soon. They're not going to. But we need to make this work as best we can for our kids, for our staff, for our community. Several weeks ago, before Governor DeWine came out with his 5 guidelines, a fall planning team was created. About 30 people, a couple of board members were involved, staff members, teachers, union leadership, parents, just a wide range. We wanted to be prepared because we did not know what Governor DeWine's guidelines were going to say. If he would have came out and said something, for example, you can only have 1 kid per bus seat every 3 seats, or you can only put 10 kids per class, those things would be game changers for us. So we have worked on, and we're going to continue to work on, a hybrid plan. I'm sorry, my mask keeps falling down on me. We're going to continue to work on a hybrid plan in terms of, do we need to split up our time? Because we didn't know what Governor DeWine was going to say. Just before the July 4th holiday, Governor DeWine came out with his 5 guidelines. Once we saw the 5 guidelines, we realized we can do this with fidelity. We can implement the 5 guidelines and bring our kids and our staff back safely, in our opinion. Students are better in school. It is better for them to be in school. You're going to begin to hear the term being used now, the COVID slide, of kids. Not only did they not have instruction during the summertime, but also the 4th quarter wasn't what it should have been across the state and the country, not just but everywhere. There's a chunk of instruction that's missing. Kids that are home, they're at greater risk for morbidity, depression, food security, abuse, things that are better served if they're here. So that was our goal the whole time. If we can bring kids back, and it's important for our community to understand that, if we could bring kids back, it's best if we bring kids back. Just so the board has accurate numbers, I think this is as of today, exactly what are we talking about in terms of the COVID virus? In Claremont County, we have approximately 201,000 people. Since the beginning of when this virus hit Ohio, there have been 630 cases in Claremont County. You can't search by zip code in Claremont County. That's a Claremont County Board of Health decision. It is what it is. 423 have recovered. There's 198 still active cases. And very sadly, 9 people have passed away. So 630 cases in a population of 201,000, the infection rate right now is 0.003 in Claremont County. 0.003. So this is our dashboard. This is what we're going to continue to look at daily, almost, are these indicators. So the infection risk is low, of 0.003, but the academic risk is high if students are not in school. Things can still change, and I think we've all experienced this, not just from month to month, but from week to week and from day to day. And so this is our best thinking right now, and I do want to thank the committee. We're still a formed committee. We're still working on some things, but it was a great process, and we feel like we have a very good plan. So this plan, we want to give our parents options. We have two options. Is to return to school full-time, implementing the 5 guidelines, or a total remote option for parents who still don't feel a good comfort level, safety level for returning their kids to school. We have very educated people in our community and here sitting in this room, and I'm not going to sit here and read through each category, but I do want to hit some highlights from each category as we go through. So option 1, scroll through here. Option 1 is returning to school every day, full-time every day. And so we want to vigilantly assess for symptoms, and that's number 1 of Governor DeWine's 5 guidelines. We are going to ask our parents to be the first point of contact daily to assess their children for symptoms and to take their temperature. If the child is ill, please stay home and seek medical guidance. We're telling our staff members the same thing. Staff members, before you report to work, please assess your symptoms, take your temperature. If you're ill, please stay home and seek medical assistance. We're going to try to really begin to, at least for now, de-emphasize perfect attendance. We don't want kids and staff members showing up to get a perfect attendance award. This is a far greater situation than that. Once students come to school, we're going to take their temperature in their either first period or whoever their first teacher is of the day. The staff members are also going to take their attendance. So this is how we're going to assess for symptoms. Number 2 is wash and sanitize your hands throughout the day. This is for students and staff. We've purchased some Purell portable hand sanitizing stations, which will be stationed all throughout our buildings in high traffic areas. Also, staff members will have pump bottles in their classrooms for students to wash their hands when they leave the classroom, when they come back in the classroom, after recess, after lunch, things of that nature. Number 3, clean and sanitize high-touch surface regularly. We need to look at moving our custodial staff off of second shift and now more towards first shift, because we're going to do lots of cleaning and sanitizing, door handles, lockers, countertops. Our staff members, in addition to having a hand sanitizer pump in their classrooms, they're also going to have a spray bottle of disinfectant, which does kill the COVID virus, that anytime they wish, they can go through and squirt the desks and wipe it down. It could be a fairly quick process, but also our secretaries will clean the front counters at least 3 times a day or after there's visitors there. But again, we're going to look at moving our custodians. Now what that'll mean, they were busy on second shift, but the work is going to look different now. On second shift, maybe they were cleaning carpets, they were emptying trash cans, whatever the case may be, but now the work is going to look different. They're going to be cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and cleaning, and maybe now the carpets, instead of getting cleaned once a week or every day, will maybe be once a week now. That work will have to shift. Number 4, practice social distancing. Again, as Governor DeWine said, 6 feet is aspirational. The American Academy of Pediatrics said that 3 feet is considered an acceptable minimum. We don't want kids congregating in the common spaces and as they want to, and kids are social beings. When they get off the bus or when they arrive to the schools, they should go right to their first period or their first teacher of the day. We don't have the breakfast part figured out yet. And I know we will do the same thing. Our kids need to eat. We will figure that out in terms of how they're going to get their breakfast. We're also, I know for a fact, our secondary principals are meeting tomorrow. I think our elementaries after that, in terms of how can our cafeterias operate at a reduced capacity. We don't want to put 300-400 kids together in the cafeteria. So they're going to look at, do we add an extra lunchtime, or do we use auxiliary spaces? Do you use maybe some hallway, maybe some gymnasium as is pertinent for have some tables and chairs set up for kids to eat their lunch? That is item 4, practicing social distancing. We're going to have our custodial crew, maintenance crew will work with our teachers to move out excess furniture, bookcases, file cabinets, and so forth, so that we can spread the desks out even further. Number 5, students and staff and students will be required to wear face coverings, shields, masks. This is, I just want to talk for a few seconds about this. This was a struggle. Even for the fall planning team, just opinions were mixed on this, and I spent many hours talking to people, thinking about it. A weekend ago, it really hit me. Our core value, our mission, is to educate students as best we can. Remove barriers, but educate them the best we can. What will slow that down is if a staff member, a student, both test positive, we see a spike. That will slow it down to where we need to rethink how we're creating our day. A large percentage of the medical community is saying face masks are beneficial. I am not a doctor. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm no one to argue with doctors. And that's where that is going to be my recommendation to the board, is for the face mask. And that's how we landed there. Obviously, the younger the student, if staff, and once the kids get into the classroom, they're 3 feet apart, staff members can give mask breaks. Younger students will need definitely more frequent mask breaks. And I even mentioned that it's understood that younger students will need more frequent mask breaks than other students. Just one note, the board, how I landed at that, the recommendation, and why we're there. On the preponderance of evidence, it'll be more beneficial than not to require students to wear face masks, and staff. I say face masks, but I mean face shields. A shield, a mask, a covering of some type. Additional items that are so our parents feel safe about sending their kids and staff members feel safe is we're going to greatly limit visitors into our schools. If there's a need to drop something off, that's different than as opposed to coming into our buildings. So we're going to limit visitors. We're going to ask our principals to schedule IEP meetings, 504, parent conferences, through all the digital means that are now at our fingertips that really 6 months ago that we were so novices with, whether it be Zoom, Google Hangouts, Microsoft Team meetings, and so forth. We are going to continue. We are in frequent contact with the Claremont County Board of Health in terms of establishing protocols. What if a staff member or student exhibits symptoms? What is the protocols? What are the time period in order to return to school? So that is option 1. And without reading it verbatim, item for item, we have many bullet points under the 5 guidelines that we feel good that we're doing the best we can to meet the 5 guidelines as set forth by Governor DeWine's Office of the High Department of Health. Before we move on, are there any questions about option 1 and the 5 guidelines? I'd be happy to answer.
I know I called you about the putting in either recommending or encouraging students to carry their own hand sanitizer to limit the touching on the actual dispensers. Did we want to put that in there anywhere, or just have each individual building as they get more of their detailed plan put it out there?
Thank you. option 2, we do want to provide our community with a remote option, but we really want to make it clear to our students, to our parents, that first of all, everybody gets an A+ for the fourth quarter. Our kids, our parents, our staff, and not just New Richmond, everywhere. Like we made it work. Nobody signed off for this, but we made it work. But we need to have this have a different feel for this year coming up. It won't be and that's what it says in the first couple sentences. It won't be the experience from the spring. We put in here some more structured guidelines and times for students that will need to be logged in and interacting with the teacher. Our goal is again to match up our teachers, our remote learning teachers, New Richmond teachers, with students who will be on this remote learning option. It will not be perfect, and any school system that says otherwise is probably a little bit. But we're going to make it be the very best we can. For example, if a child is in 3rd grade and we have a 5th grade teacher, the 5th grade teacher will be responsible for several students of various grade levels to get them through this. At the secondary level, we may have a science teacher that is shepherding 15, 20 students, and that science teacher can be really effective with science, but they're going to use our Apex learning system to help fill in some of the other subjects, the math, science, or math, social studies, and English. Our parents should be looking for something next week in terms of if they would like to sign on for the remote option. I anticipate that coming out sometime next week to sign up for the remote option. I hope that this document gives them the information that they need to make an informed decision. If they have questions, I would strongly encourage them to talk to their doctor, talk to their pediatrician about their specific situation. Every situation is different. We would love for things to return to normal, as I started out with, but things are not going to be normal for a while. Not going to be normal for a while. And that is our reopening plan right now, as things stand today. I emphasize, as things stand today. Are there questions now on either options 1 or options 2?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
What about those parents that have no internet access? How are they going to be able to get this information and reach back out to either their building administrator or to you at the board office?
That's a great question. And we do have students that do not have internet access. The fall planning team that's a part of what we're working on, and thank you for covering that, is we're looking at purchasing with federal or state funds, purchasing hotspots that will be placed in strategic places around the district that the student would need to come to the hotspot to access the internet. Okay. As opposed to purchasing and putting in their house.
I understand.
Yes.
Let me back that up. Maybe I misled you. The parents that currently have no technology, how will they be informed in regards to these plans and to the back to school plan?
So just like the survey we sent out, we have an idea of who those students are. We mailed them to their house, the survey.
Okay.
So
I didn't know that.
So we will do the same thing here for the commitment on this. We will mail the commitment form to their houses.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you.
Good question.
And it's not necessarily a question, but it's kind of a comment, since being on the fall planning meeting, it was asked there, just for the rest of the board. When it talks about the commitment and it says they can only change one time, we brought that up, like, what if the student's health changes? And Mr. Miller pointed out that would be a case-by-case basis for them to address with their building administrator.
Absolutely.
So even though that's how it's written, we're still not saying, nope, too bad.
We want to have empathy, because if a kid's health deteriorates, we need to shift that right away, or they experience symptoms. And the other way, if a kid has signed up for remote learning, but it's not going so well because it's remote learning, it's different. You need some more structure and some discipline. If we need to shift them back in, then we'll shift them back in. We always want to use some common sense.
I guess the only thing I wanted to ask or add to that then, Trace or Mr. Miller,
Yes.
is, for example, for those kids that aren't logging in daily, would they eventually be turned in for truancy, or will we have a plan to bring them back into the building on a day-by-day basis, or would they continue to stay virtual?
No, yeah, on page 9, on the last page of the document, we do outline attendance reporting where this is what it means to be tardy, this is what it means to be absent, because we need...
I got you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We need our kids to be engaged. We do.
Gotcha,
We
thank
do.
you. Sorry about that, I
No.
didn't see it.
I just want to thank the committee. This is a result of a lot of hard work by the group, and it's our best thinking at this time, and I'm asking for approval of our reopening plan as we know it right now.
Okay, great. We need a motion, please.
Make the motion.
All right, Todd, second?
Second.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Any other discussion? No discussion? All right. James, roll call, please.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Wooten.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Dupac.
Yes.
All right, motion carried. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As a part of this plan, again, I want to thank our union leadership, Ms. Nicole Parker, Teresa Berkeley, in terms of, I'm asking for a revision to our calendar, which was previously board approved. I'm asking for, we had 3 professional development days built into our calendar before COVID. 1 in October, 1 in November, 1 in February. I am asking the board to consider moving those to now the start of the school year. Instead of students reporting on August 17th, 18th, and 19th, those are now going to be staff work days, August 17th, 18th, and 19th. That'll give us extra 3 days to get ready to institute all these procedures and protocols we just went through, move out the furniture, to make room for more, to spread out the desks, and to get more professional development on digital learning, So that would be the purpose of moving those 3 days. On Thursday and Friday, then, we would then have a staggered start. On the 20th would be grades K2, 4, 6, 9, and 10. And then on the 21st would be the other grades. That is, again, bring in half the student population, show them the new processes and procedures, how things are going to work, and then everybody's in August 24th on that Monday. So the good thing is it gives us time up front, but no professional development time during the year. We'll need to be more creative with our before the school day starts. And this is our best thinking right now today. This could change. This could change. It's our best thinking right now. Again, thanks to our union leadership. We feel this is good for everybody. I'm asking for the board's approval.
Okay, great, thank you. Need a motion, please, to approve the school year 2021 calendar, please.
Also move.
Thanks, Tim. Second?
Second.
Todd? All right, any other discussion?
I do have a question about the 19th fall break. So in our previous calendar, we had that mandatory safety day for staff,
Yep.
but by looking at the calendar, it looks like they're not coming in then on the 19th. So then have we eliminated that mandatory safety training day?
Unfortunately, we have for this year, and then that I'm not really happy with that, but this has taken precedence.
Right, I just didn't know if maybe that would be something that happened in the
Yeah.
spring, or we're just waiting for next year.
No, that's important. This has become urgent. The urgent
Yeah.
beats the important. That's a great, thank you. That's a great question.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, James, roll call, please.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
Mr. Wooten.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Dupac.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
All right, motion carried.
Again, working with our union leadership, we think the agreement is very fair for our staff, our students, for the district. We don't know what the fall season athletics and so forth is going to look like. We anticipate there being some additional guidance this week from OHSAA. We just don't know. But I do know our coaches are out there working with kids, our kids are out there, and we want to be fair. So I think this agreement lays it out that if we play a full season, obviously people receive their full supplementals. But if at some point in the season the carpet gets pulled out from under us, there'll be a portion of the supplemental that they'll earn. And so we think it's fair. If the season gets canceled, it won't be a full payment, but it'll be fair for the kids in the district and our coaches. So that is the purpose of the memorandum of understanding for supplementals. Questions I could answer on that?
I would just make a comment. Maybe you can just, for those that are online, and about the fall, like where we are right now with the current governor's standards and what he's asking for, and when do we think that's going to either be lifted or changed? And I think it's this Wednesday. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The orders expire this Wednesday. We received information last week, some point, that OHSAA is still planning on running their 10 sanctioned sports for the fall and having tournaments. So they're still planning on that happening. There's been quite a bit of upheaval at OHSAA, and so I think that's maybe slowing down a little bit of the decision-making process. So we think that we'll hear something this week giving us school systems further guidance what could happen for fall sports in general, contact sports versus non-contact sports.
Gotcha. Okay, but that all
We're planning on having our sports.
Okay.
We're planning on it.
So everything is still contingent upon what the governor does. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That is correct.
So for those that are watching, obviously the part of the mandates, if they do get changed or if they do get renewed as we have them today, obviously, then there's certain stipulations that we have to fall under for interleague play. Such as every athlete has to be tested 72 hours before a game, and then also there will be no spectators in the stands. Currently, unless he changes it as of Wednesday. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yes.
Be interesting. So, all right, cool, good.
Some sports have already been approved, correct?
Non-contact
Not all of them.
non-contact sports.
Right.
Mhm.
So our tennis,
Cross country.
Yeah,
cross country was considered contact, I thought.
I think you're right.
Running and spitting at each other, but yeah.
Golf. Sorry.
Only because my daughter ran it, but
Yeah.
so volleyball, golf, cross country, or tennis
Yeah.
are the ones that are good right now, but the other ones are still on hold.
Yeah, there's been a thought out there that maybe we swap seasons with, say, spring sports. Put football in spring and put baseball in the fall. So
That would stink for those spring sports that are so far behind on any kind of training. But yeah,
yeah. So for those I guess that are watching, I think they're wondering if there's any sports
Yeah.
not in the
Stay
fall.
tuned.
Stay tuned. We'll know between now and Wednesday.
Yes, we will.
well, if he
communicate
goes out on Wednesday.
We will communicate out as soon as we know something.
Right.
Yeah.
We know how important extracurriculars are for our
Absolutely.
kids. Whether it be music, whether it be sports, whether it be theater, it's an important part of their high school experience.
Yeah, well said.
Agreed.
Thank you. So let's need a motion for item now, what, 9A, 8A? 8A?
Yes, sir.
Certified MOU COVID supplementals.
I'll make a motion.
Kristen? A second?
I'll second.
Kevin? Any other discussion there? Okay, roll call please.
Mr. Wooten.
Abstain.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Dupaul.
Yes.
Mr. Walrose.
Yes.
Mr. Wells.
Yes.
All right, human resource items.
Thank you. Just the consent part of the HR agenda. We've had some staff members that have put in for their letters of retirement and resignation. You met one earlier, not met, but you saw Mr. Bailey earlier. We continue to go down the recall list, the RIF list, and so whenever that somebody declines to return, we want to make sure there's board action record of that. So you'll see that on in the agenda. We did have one staff member would like to come back. Michelle Tyler will be joining us. Happy to announce, pending board approval, I'd like to mention our new high school principal, Mr. Rob Burnside. And again, just quickly, just because I believe process is important. We had 30 people involved with the search for this high school principal. We involved high school staff, parents, students, administrative team, board members. Really great process. Had, I thought, 4 fantastic candidates. Got it whittled down to a couple. And then Mr. Burnside comes with us with high references. He was here many years ago as an assistant principal. He then went to King's local schools, spent 10 years there. In the past 3 to 4 years, I think, 3 years he's been with Lakota schools. So excited. I know he's excited as well. He wanted to come tonight to just have a chance to hopefully meet the board. I said because we're under the restrictions, no need to come, but he's itching to go and ready to start work at the high school. So at any rate, we have a classified substitute to employ. I've asked for the board to give Mr. Burnside 9 transition days, which hopefully will begin tomorrow through next week. There's so much that needs to get done to get the high school year ready to go. In planning for more digital learning, we're bringing our kindergarten, first grade teachers in to receive iPad training, that's going to be the device of choice for our younger kids. The facilitator stipend, we're just a flow through the University of Cincinnati, but it gets paid to our office and gets paid to the staff member. And then our fall supplementals are up for approval. There's still some that we don't have filled in yet, but I do want to mention, and I think for next year, or even for winter and spring, that we will make this more clear. For example, under pay level 10, there's 4 assistant football coaches, but it says co-coach. And so just for transparency's sake, so for example, they're splitting that supplemental. So 2 of them will split a supplemental and 2 others will split a supplemental. It's very common for coaches to do that, to try to bring more coaches onto the coaching staff at a reduced rate. So just wanted to I thought that was worth mentioning to the board and to our community. And then we have a list of volunteers anticipating we're going to have a fall sports season. So that is the human resource consent agenda.
Okay, wonderful. All right, please need a motion to items A through J underneath the human resource.
I'll make the motion.
All right,
I'll
Todd,
second it.
Todd and Tim. Any discussion on these items?
It's just a question or more of a clarification. When we talk about the professional development training for bringing in the iPad, with the purchase of the new iPad, we're now pretty much a one-to-one district for our students, correct?
Great point. We're in a very good spot. We purchased some replacement Chromebooks for those that have been lost, damaged, so forth throughout the course of last year, but I feel really good about where we are technologically speaking. Thank you. That's, again, great point. Thank you.
No question.
Yep.
All right, James, roll call, please.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Dufault?
Yes.
Mr. Walriven?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Abstain, please. All right. James, treasurer's report and action items there.
All right, my consent items today, the first 2 items are the regular meeting minutes and the facility committee meeting minutes. The next item is the financial reports. I did want to give a brief overview as we've closed out fiscal year 20 of basically how we've done inflows and outflows, expenditures and revenues. We were hit pretty significantly with revenues, just with the devaluation of our utility property. We had a 50% open enrollment decrease from fiscal year 19, and then our state foundation cuts at the end of fiscal year 20 that Governor DeWine announced. There was like I said, we were hit pretty substantially in our revenue. There's a difference when you compare fiscal year 19 to fiscal year 20 of roughly $3.9 million. So we are we don't necessarily have much work to do. There's not much we can do as far as the revenues. We do have some items to look forward to as far as next year, as we are going to be receiving CARES Act funds that have been approved. House Bill 164 that Mr. Miller's talked about earlier today, the $388,000. CARES Act is roughly $350,000. And then there is actually the Ohio State Committee has approved, as of last Monday, some additional emergency relief dollars for the K-12 schools of Ohio. Unfortunately, it hasn't been as far as appropriating or allocating specific dollar amounts to our schools. However, those dollars have been approved. So as soon as I have word on those on what that's supposed to look like for New Richmond, I will absolutely report on those numbers. So even though fiscal year 20 was kind of bad when you're comparing fiscal year 19 to 20 as far as revenues, we do have some money coming in next year, and then of course the levy dollars will start coming in January as well, which is going to significantly benefit the district. As far as our expenditures, we decreased our expenditures roughly $355,000, which is good. The district's really made some significant improvements. We just need to continue making those improvements. As far as our expenditures, that's really the only place we have power over. So we have some. We did receive a $1,000 donation from the New Richmond Alumni Association, so we thank you for that. It's going to New Richmond's Alumni Scholarship Fund. We do have some disposals on the agenda today. We have a list of printers we're going to be disposing of. Those will be auctioned off at Gov Deals. This was a part of our printer project that started last year and took place roughly a month or two ago, where we switched out all the printers that were in individual classrooms and designated workhorse printers in each of the buildings. So we will be auctioning those off. And then there's a massive list of some technology that we're getting rid of. 8 to 10-year-old obsolete iPads, Chromebooks over 5 years old, and then old technology that's been sitting, that's been a part of our cleanup project, just trying to get rid of stuff that we're not using anymore. So I'd like you to approve those items that are going to be disposed of. The next item is our termination contract for Market Street property. We will be speaking about that a little bit more in detail, but the contracts, it was breached, and the buyers could no longer go through with purchasing Market Street. So just wanted you all to be aware of that, including the community. These two next items kind of go hand in hand. I briefly talked about in my monthly report the new funds, the emergency relief funds that were just recently approved by the state, and then the CARES Act funds. So I do need to establish those funds in our system. The emergency relief fund is going to be 510, and then the CARES Act fund is going to be 507. I just wanted you all to be aware of that. And then the last item on my consent agenda is the appropriations resolution. The resolution was passed last month. I did present on that. However, what makes this document different from the initial appropriation resolutions document is that this includes the federal and state allocations for grants. I did not have those numbers last month, so I just wanted you all to be aware of that. So that's the only change to the appropriation resolutions document. And those are my consent items that I'd like for you to approve today.
Okay, James, thank you. I need a motion to approve items 10A now through items 10H. Motion.
Motion.
Kristen, thanks. Second, please.
I'll second.
All right, Todd, any discussion on any of these items for James? All right, James, you got off tonight. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dufault?
Yes.
Mr. Walgren?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Wooten?
Yes.
Mrs. Penn?
Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome, motion approved. All right. Item now 11, committee report. We have a report from the facilities committee,
We
right?
do. Kevin and I met with the facility committee on June 30th, and so I'm going to kind of go a little bit out of order off the agenda with going over the 4 items that were on the thing. So one of the first things we talked about was the Front Street property and the remediation process that had started with the tanks being removed, and it was Patriot Consulting, correct? Engineering, sorry.
Correct.
That is working on that project. So we paid them $15,000 to start that process. And so they are working with James and Mr. Corbeil and Mr. Miller on making sure all our paperwork is in line, and actually already had the application there that day to be submitted to our insurance company, or the insurance group is what it is. And so what will happen is once that gets approved, which they said there's a very, 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 very slim chance that it would not be approved, because all our documentation is in place for the ownership of those tanks since day one. And so, what will happen is once it's approved, then the company will send us a $4,000 check because our deductible is $11,000, and they look at the deductible as what you pay to the company. So even though we've paid out $15,000, we'll get $4,000 back to cover the $11,000 deductible. And then everything else from that point would be covered by the insurance company. So then we asked about owning the property during all this, and they actually said it's probably in our best interest to continue to own the property because no matter what happens, we own that contamination that was tested for until it's cleaned up. So then if we enter in a sale agreement with someone, then we'd have to get permission to go back on the property and clean it up, and we would own it no matter that mess. That's the word I'm going to use, mess. You know, that's not a good word, but we would own it until it's clean. So Kevin and I, we threw it around. We thought it's in our best interest to hold on to that property until it's all cleaned up. And that could be up to 12 months, maybe a little longer, because everything's behind with COVID.
Well, they got several phases they have to go through
Correct.
as well. It's stage one, there'll be a phase two, and it's just the way the state paperwork is, and this company said they've done it many times before. They don't foresee any real problems, but it's just a long, cumbersome process. So
you have to work with not just our insurance company, but you'll have to meet deadlines with Buster, who's the Bureau of Underground Storage Tanks in the state of Ohio. And they're the ones that actually have deadlines on paperwork. And I'll forget the gentleman's name, but Patriot Engineering, they said their job is to make sure we don't miss those deadlines. So that's why they'll work very hand in hand with us to make sure everything is filed and taken care of. Even if extensions need to be filed with Buster, they're very familiar with that. And so,
So is this the same company that will do the?
correct.
Yeah, so
So they do it all?
Patriot
They do it all.
Engineering, they'll do all the heavy lifting, the dirty work. They'll get their hands all dirty, and they do the paperwork as well.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
this is what they do.
Specialty.
He said there was only like 4 in the state of Ohio, and the closest one next to us is about 200 miles away. So we're very thankful that they're close to us and working very well with us.
So there was a promise made during the facility committee meeting by Patriot Engineering. So since there is technically a chance that it could be approved by the state, he made a promise that it will not cost the district if we're rejected for some reason from the state. That Patriot Engineering will continue to work, but we won't see another invoice.
Correct.
So we've done our part. He has faith in the system enough to make a promise that it's not going to cost the district any more than the $11,000.
Yeah, because the way he explained it was the ones that kind of get in trouble are your gas stations that, the supplier comes in, think they only need 900 gallons, but they put in 1,100 gallons, they get this big spill. Those are the ones they always have questions for. They're like school districts. They never have that problem. So we have a lot better tracking system than your everyday gas station because we're not seeing everybody and anybody using those facilities. So, and then anything else that we missed on that?
It's going to be probably a year plus before
Yeah.
we're able to get to the other side of the process.
And we know there's individuals interested in possibly purchasing that property down there, but we just need to. It's too hard to do what we got to do if we don't own the property.
Yeah.
So we're just I hope they still maintain their interest, but until we get that process taken care of, there's nothing we can do about it.
Right. And as a buyer, if I was going to buy that property,
I'd want a clean bill of health.
No, it was
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah, of course.
Because
Absolutely.
we still own that until it's clean.
Right.
So we might as well just own it all
Sure.
until it's clean. And then, so to talk about Market Street, one thing that came up to us is at that point the deadline was the next day for the closing on Market Street. And we were pretty much informed that that would not happen. They were maybe thinking about another extension. We both agreed that no more extension. And so the deadline actually went past on July 1st. And because of that, that's why they're breaching contract. And we get to keep the earnest money with that. And our recommendation was to go ahead and sell the property and list it, not have to do the bid again, because we did follow the state guidelines, the ORC guidelines on how we can sell the property. We did send it out to bid. So at this point, we do not have to do that again. And I recommend, Kevin may speak for himself, but I recommend that we go ahead and enter into some kind of agreement with a private, to do private sale, have it listed with a commercial real estate company.
I mean, we've already been through the bidding process, that, we came up with a successful bidder, which ultimately didn't pan out. Now it's within our perfect right to just go ahead and sell the property just like anybody else would. We've already determined we don't really have a purpose for it now that we've got everything relocated up here and whatnot. And I'm hoping that, maybe with not having a competition, that somebody will come in and put a good serious bid in and we won't have to worry about somebody competing with somebody. We've got all of our approvals, we've got all of our estimates and everything. So, hopefully some of the people who are interested before, will show that they're interested still and put up the proper dollar amount, and we can just sell them straight up.
James, what would the recommendation be? How long would it take, or would that take board approval to go into contract with a commercial real estate, or is it something that you would choose and be good to go?
Yeah, as long as it works with the board and it's the main consensus, that's something we can definitely move forward on. Before we agreed on a specific amount, I would definitely recommend taking it to the board, whether it be a special meeting or waiting for the next meeting.
And part of the good news is we've already had the ability to appraise, so we don't have to have that part done again. So we already know what its appraised value is from that, so I think that's a really good guideline for us. So then the easiest thing we had to discuss at the study meeting was the water tower. The village was just letting me know they were going to paint the external and internal parts of the water tower. So they would have equipment on our site also to help maintain the water pressure. And it's no cost to the district, even though there's, I guess, been some water main breaks, but they weren't ours at this time. So that's any good news. So this is not costing us anything, but you'll see the water tower get a new coat of paint. The fourth thing, which was actually first thing there, is a little bit more to discuss. You guys should have some papers at your desk from the Ohio Public Works Commission. And so Mr. Alan Freeman came to present to us from the Ohio Public Works Commission about a proposal for the property that's behind the softball and baseball field, which I know when we sold a lot of the property, it did come up to us, why were we not looking at that property to sell? And it's because we're very active on that side of the property. It's landlocked, that kind of thing. But he did bring to us a proposal that the Ohio Public Works Commission could provide an opportunity to have walking trails, a wellness trail, additional parking, or an enclosure for portable restrooms to be used by the community. But that process means that a third-party natural resource conservation company would have to purchase the property. So it just couldn't be sold to anybody. It has to be sold to a natural resource conservation group. And then they would actually be the ones that work on the grant money through the commission, and then they have to maintain that property. So the other thing is, once that happens, that property is locked in and can only be used for that purpose. So it can only be used as, whether it's a walking trail, a wellness trail, whatever. You cannot change its use ever. And the only way it can be sold is if it's sold to another conservation property group. So basically it becomes protected property. But the downside is we would no longer own it. We would no longer, then the only way they could get to that is by going through our property. So I just wanted to bring you guys, we just wanted to bring you guys that information and what that means. And like you can see some of the projects they've done. I do have a list of some of the projects they've done in Claremont County. And I think they said next year, of course none of this has been approved by the governor yet, but for this organization, for this area, I think it's called District 10, it was like 37,500,000. Maybe that's all districts. So District 10 would be 2,400,000, something like that. So I'm just bringing it to you guys. If the board wanted to further discuss that way you have the information that we had. We really don't have a recommendation on this one way or the other, but just giving you that information if you have any questions.
And I think what it boils down to is we as a board, we really need to think of the property that we will currently own, after what we've gotten rid of, including Market Street, ultimately Front Street, the church property, what property do we not want to keep as a for the school district? And then these types of things here, then I think would fall in line with, okay, does that fall in line with the property that we really would like to get rid of? I mean, that's the only benefit to the board is you'll get a one-time fee of whatever it sells for, and then you basically it won't be any of ours anymore. We won't have any dealing with it. So, I think as a board we need to sit down and decide: have we sold enough property? Do we want to sell more? If we do sell more, what property do we think we can do without? And I think that's what it kind of boils down to. Once we get a game plan together, saying, I think we can sell more, right? I think we've sold enough, or I just don't want to get rid of it here or there. We're gonna have to decide as a board how much more property we think we can get rid of successfully that really has no purpose for us, and then go from there and then find out what's the best thing for us to do, and maybe something like this if we do want to get rid of it and go this route. So this is kind of contingent upon what it is we want to do as a board.
But up until this, right, we opted not to sell this piece of property, right, in the midst of everything else we were doing, just because.
And we also refused Duke Energy. They wanted to
Correct.
buy a piece off of us, and we refused them because it was impinging upon the space of the ball fields and everything. And truthfully, I mean, for a $10,000 game, it just wasn't worth the trade-off.
I remember that. Okay.
And so we've been down this route before, and I mean, we're pretty well landlocked here now. This area here, there's really nothing left hardly to really get rid of. I mean, so the only other places you've got that we own property is probably own a little bit around Locust Corner,
Mm-hmm.
you own a little bit around Monroe School, and you own a little bit around this ball field over there. And that's about what you got.
So really, from a property standpoint, to the community, right? I mean, is there really any value of anything else that could go there that would generate, for the community's benefit, say tax dollars or anything else that would go there? It's really just a piece of property sitting there, really for nothing. Really, I mean, there's nothing other than this purpose. I think there's probably nothing else viable that would make sense, right? I mean, I think that's why we did not.
Well, over there, it's because the property is so spread out around everything. Across the street, the ball fields, all that loose property is kind of around all the ball fields.
Right.
So somehow, some way, something's got to impinge upon something.
Sure.
If you're going to get rid of property over there.
Right.
Because we used a lot of the property that was over there. Yeah, there's still some more, but you also got a gully. You've also got
Right.
a lot of property that nobody else is really going to want to pull.
Good. Okay.
So, and then like I said, you've got other properties around the district. We just got to decide if we're still in the property selling business, then we need to make that decision.
So one of the positives that was talked about was like the wellness trail, which we talked about the wellness program with our insurance, and that would help maybe, drop some of those rates down with a really good participation in the wellness program. But the huge negative to that is, the soccer team uses that all the time, because that area, that flat area, is a huge area that
Sure.
we use for the soccer team.
And that's what it was built for.
And they would take,
Right.
that would take an area, that's the only place to put an additional parking lot,
Right.
which we would say they would, need to do that because we don't want our parking lot to be used because we have, sports over there and it's free. So, yeah, there's pros and there's some cons, so it's just a discussion that,
Gotcha.
we wanted you guys
That's
to have and be part of.
certainly great food for thought, for sure, right? Opportunity.
So you guys have that paperwork, and if you have any other questions, you can call one of us, but, that's pretty much what went down in the facilities committee meeting.
Awesome. Great update. Thank you. I think the last real item, well, maybe for communication reports, item now 12, academic report.
Item 13.
Item 13, there you go.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yes. I'm really happy and just so pleased to be presenting to you tonight the second reading of the graded courses of study. Again, just an outstanding job by our curriculum writers, our teachers who pulled this together. I think I long for more conversations about learning and teaching. It seems like we have to do so many other things, but this is our core business. And I would encourage the public to go in there and explore the link and look. Our goal is, once this is board approved, is then to get this on our website so that parents can go to our website and can access what's taking place in the classroom. So for example, I'll just click on that I'll click on it very quickly. When you click on it, you'll see all the grade bands from kindergarten all the way up through high school. So for example, let's just pick 3rd grade. So I'm going to click on 3rd grade. And then once you go to the grade, you'll see the 4 core areas: language arts, math, science, and social studies. So if I click on math, so 3rd grade, and then what you'll see is all the major units that are going to take place in 3rd grade math this year. It's outstanding what we've done. And these aren't finished documents. And then if you click even further down, like Unit 1 for math, you'll see what the topic is, the assessments, and the I can statements and so forth. We want to continue to work on these and add in what are the resources that we're going to use, because I would like our staff members to begin to use similar kinds of resources and similar kinds of assessments. So this isn't an end point, but this is a great starting point. I also, at some point, we need to do this for all of our specialty classes as well, to make sure that all of our kids are, again, just getting an incredibly quality education when they come to New Richmond. So our curriculum writers were here last month and did a brief presentation. This is their finished product. Again, just outstanding work, and I'm asking for the board's approval for the graded courses of study for the core areas, kindergarten through 12th grade.
I had a comment. With this, if we get all the resources and all the types of things that we want them to learn in these standards and whatever, would this not be a great document for people doing remote learning? Because the parents are always saying, I don't understand what it is you're asking of my child.
100%.
And you can go into something like this, and if you have the resources listed there, they can go find those resources and go right straight to what it is that they're using to teach.
And they'll know this unit we're going to cover this topic. So yes, so this is great transparency. And that's a really good point, Kevin. Really good. I'm very happy, very pleased, very pleased. We've come a long way.
Wonderful, great job. All right, need a motion, please. All right, Tim got that one. I need a second.
I'll second.
All right, Kevin. Any other discussion then? All right, James, roll call, please.
Mr. Waller?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Yes.
Last but not least, Ms. Billings has taken a few very well-deserved days off. But look for our community. Our plan is sometime next week to send out the survey to our parent community if they would like to enroll in the remote option. So look for that sometime next week, and that'll come out of Ms. Billings' office. And that's it for the communications report.
All right.
Motion adjourned.
We didn't even get there yet, Kristen.
I never do.
I was going to say it was a good communication for you.
Yes.
Short, simple message, to the point.
Thank you, Mr. Wood.
All right. Kristen's already given us a motion for adjournment. Need a second?
I'll second.
All right, Tim.
Discussion, right?
Any discussion to adjourn?
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the color paint in room 12.
Does my mask look
Strike that for the
all right?
record, please. Strike it for the record. All right, we need roll call, please.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Yes.
Mr. Waller?
All right, motion approved, and we are adjourned. Thank you for joining us this evening. Facebook Live.
Thank you,
Folks,
everybody.
have a great evening.